Each and every Monday is $9 Monday at WagerTalk.com. All daily picks packages are priced at only $9, including $40 5% best bets. As an added bonus, all new users will receive $25 in wager bucks credited to their accounts, available for immediate use after their initial $9 Monday purchase. So make sure to take advantage of $9 Mondays at WagerTalk.com.
Welcome, everyone, to Wager Talk Today, Monday, June 7th, a new week upon us. Marco D'Angelo joining us on this show, talking couple of baseball games and the Winnipeg-Montreal Canadiens game, Bryan Leonard after that couple of baseball games, and the Milwaukee Bucks game. Teddy, how was your weekend?
So I came back to earth a little bit this weekend. No question. The NBA wasn't good. And I did lose a baseball game on Saturday, and I was so frustrated with it, Prez. It was live right through the end, and I was debating as to which game to use, and I ended up using the wrong one and using the right one as the free play. It is what it is. But came back yesterday and won an MLB again. So I can't complain, even though the streak is over. I'll complain about NBA, but I expect to get right back on track in NBA tonight. It's been a good run now for the better part of the last month. I got no complaints when I'm coming into Monday, 27-8 all sports or something like that. It's been pretty good. How about yourself?
Well, I mean, I'm the opposite. I ran my hockey, January, February, March, April, May, unbelievable. All my NBA has been unbelievable for the last month and a half. But dude, I am in such a slump in hockey. I mean, it's, me and you spoke last night on the phone, and you were trying to talk me off of a ledge, and I was on a ledge. I mean, I was Humpty Dumpty last night, dude. I did end up winning my play last night, but man, it's one of those things where you need an empty net goal to win. You don't get it. Then the next game, you don't need an empty net goal, and you get it. And Montreal Canadiens go under the total 8 of 10 games. I'm on the under the 2 games they lose. They go over. Tampa Bay, Carolina, under 3 games in a row. I play the under. 700 goals in that game. I'm out of sync, but Teddy, last night you were speaking to me and you were like, are you doing anything different? I went back over and I looked at everything, and the bottom line is, the problem I'm having these playoffs is the overtime games, to be bluntly honest with you. I haven't won any in overtime. And I went through my regular season, and I was playing so many games in regulation, which brought the juice down. Now I'm stuck where I can't play these games in regulation, and you're playing massive juice every day, unless you want to play the dog, so I'm not, in essence, doing anything different to what I was doing in the regular season. It's just that every play there's just so much more juice in every play. And I should have just quieted it down earlier. But Teddy, we do this. What? Yeah, go ahead.
This is the truth of it, Prez. And there's look, a month ago, you were sitting here hot as hell, and I was sitting here I can't do anything right. And now our fortunes have reversed a little bit. This is a humbling business. It doesn't matter how long you do it. You can do it for your entire life. You're going to go through stretch and you talk about your struggles in overtime. You have to win your fair share of coin flip games where you're not right and you're not wrong. Yep. It's a 50-50. And when you're losing more than your fair share of those, you slump. And when you're winning more than your fair share of those, you can go on some real good hot streaks, like I've been on and you've been on here in 2021. And it's inevitable that's not going to last. Now, as a capper, my goal, because these hot streaks don't last forever. We know that when they go, you ride them as long as they can. But as a capper, my goal is always, when the hot streak ends, as it inevitably will, don't bury everybody on the way down. And it's really hard to accomplish that. It's hard to do that because you have to feel all right, I'm not seeing Teddy, it the same way right now, and you have to tap the brake pedal, and it's not easy to do. It isn't, Prez. It's what you want to do when you close out a hot streak is go 5-5 in your next 10 or 10-10 in your next 20. and it doesn't always work that way.
And you know, the funny thing is that's what I was doing during the regular season, where I'd win like 7 games in a row and then I'd go 2-3, you know. But we were talking about this last night, Teddy, and I mean, you take a look. On Friday in the penalty box segment, I gave out the under in the Habs game. It was a 1-0 final. I gave out Vegas. They won. Marco lost his absolute shit during that game. I was being texted, but they won. I went 0-2 for my clients. So it's like when you start shutting it down, when you start lowering the volume, I'm still winning. I'm just picking the wrong plays to give out. I mean, you're better off listening to the penalty box segment.
All right. Well, that's a good reason to watch Wager Talk Today each and every day.
Teddy Covers, Lawrence Presman. Teddy, bad beat segment every Monday. What do you got for us?
Sure. Yeah, we got some bad beats to talk about. Absolutely. Let's start with Saturday or Friday. I can't remember. The Islanders and Bruins, the under 5. I got a tweet from Adam Weiss at W Monist, a Eugene Debs fan. You don't see too many of those nowadays. Kudos, Adam. He was talking about the Islanders Bruins under 5, and it's 1-0 into the third. It's 1-1 with 7 minutes left. It's a dead nuts under. It's 2-1 with just over a minute to play, and then it's 3-1, and then an empty netter with 3 seconds left. You had the under in that game. You got a brutal push. Thanks for sharing that one, Adam at W Monist on Twitter. What about yesterday when Winnipeg pulled their goalie real early, down 4-1 with a total of 5, and then 4-1 became a 5-1 final? Prez, you talked about it. Winnipeg 8-2 to the under the last 10, and Prez is on both losers. How about the John Rahm controversy?
Oh, my God.
And Darren Ravel on the Action Network, of course, getting it wrong. But the issue with Rahm, obviously, if you had a ticket at some books, and he was the leader in the PGA tournament this weekend. 6 up. He was in real good position to win the tournament. And then the asymptomatic positive test result, and he gets pulled off the course. So at some books, they paid. They paid off as a winner, 10-1, 12-1, Caesars, William Hill, those type of things. Under normal circumstances, it would be treated as a post-tee off withdrawal. But the fact was that the books that paid Rahm as the winner, 100% were books didn't have a ton of liability on Rahm as the winner. And that's, nice publicity stunt.
Said.
Nice publicity stunt. But the truth of it is, if they were paying out Rahm at 10 and 12-1, it was because they could afford to pay out Rahm at 10 and 12-1. Didn't have a lot of action on them. There was a dispute or a disparity from one book to the next. Some books paid, some books didn't. And that's not a thing that you're likely to run into on a significant basis. So, I like this book better than that. Nonetheless, real controversy with the John Rahm withdrawing off the positive tests. Some bettors getting paid, some bet not. If you didn't, that's a pretty bad bet. And let's not forget, I got to give tribute to Andy Lang because I saw the highlight on this one. You see Lewis Hamilton skidding off the track in Azerbaijan? Tough beat if you had Hamilton in that one. When it comes to bad bets, well, let's see. 76ers money poured in yesterday with Embiid playing -2.5 to -4.5. They made things interesting at the end, but Atlanta's went on a run at the end of the first, into the second. What it go from like 22-18 to 57-31, and it was all Hawks wire to wire. Bad bets on Philly, including my money. The Mavs Clips total yesterday, 215, bet down to 211. The pace was snail's pace, 92 possessions. But the offensive efficiency for both teams was extraordinary, 126-111 final. Flew over the total. Bad bets on the under. All the public money was on the dog in that game. Those were bad bets as well. D-backs. So about the totals yesterday in MLB. Lots of wrong sides. Lots of bad bets. D-backs Brewers total bet up from 7.5 to 8.5. Well, 2-0 final. The Cincy St. Louis total from bet down 9, bet down to 8.5 turned out to be a slugfest after the Reds bullpen melted down 8-7 final. That was wrong. The Orioles Indians total open 10, bet all the way down to 9, 18-5 final. Bettors were wrong on that. And WNBA money, the money was wrong in both games. Seattle -8 to -9. They lost straight up at Dallas. There was over money in that game, too. That was also wrong. Atlanta +6 down to +4.5. They lost by 20 at Minnesota. Nothing but bad bets in the WNBA yesterday. Bad for the books? Well, wasn't a bad day for the books. Wasn't a bad weekend for the books. I'll tell you that flat out. Maybe that's why they were paying all the Rom money. Yesterday, there was lots of wise guy money on the Rockies. They opened the dog. They closed the chalk. They won 3-1 against the A's. And the Mariners and Angels had a wild slugfest on Saturday as LA rallied from behind. Better expected more of the same on Sunday. And they got it. That total got bet up. Ended up flying over the total. So there you have it, Prez. Some bad beats, some bad bets, and some bad for the books over the weekend. Let's bring in Marco.
Hey, I am the guy that brings in Marco, Teddy. Anyway, okay. I just want to say one quick thing. Bad beat. Anybody who bought and watched that Mayweather fight, what the hell? What is going on? Like, seriously, what is going on?
I went to watch Mayweather live a couple of times. I've watched him on pay-per-view a couple of times. That's the way he fights. All he does is, you're not going to beat me.
Teddy, this isn't a fight. There were no judges.
Correct.
We're talking about an old man versus a young YouTube sensation. They're not even in the same weight class. Like, is this what boxing has come to? Like, are we going to see the heavyweight, Josh Wilder fight a gorilla in the next fight? Like a baboon?
Why not?
Okay. Not for me.
So boxing has been, when I moved to Vegas in 98, everyone was telling me that boxing was dead and boxing was dying, and that hasn't changed in 23 years. And boxing's still dead and dying, and they need events like this to make anyone interested. And then every time anyone buys an event like this, and it sucks like it does pretty much every time, they have to go jack the whole nucleus. A bunch of people to buy the event next time. So, yes, it wasn't much of a fight. I didn't watch any of it, and I didn't want to watch any of it because I know how Mayweather fights.
Yeah, boring. Marco D'Angelo, my brother. Marco, you went to the Vegas Golden Knights game 2 nights ago. I'm guessing Bryan Leonard went last night?
No, actually, the wives went last night. I took him down to the T-Mobile. Yeah, I took him down to the T-Mobile. I went to Bellagio and watched the game and played some poker and let them have the game last night. And that was the best performance from the Knights. So now they're going to, try to get us to let them go again. I don't think that's going to happen, though.
I see their argument is we're the good luck charm. Anyway, before we get into your baseball and hockey thoughts, I just want to say, and I know Teddy doesn't follow hockey a lot, but game 2 and 3, from my perspective, and I've been watching and playing hockey out of control. I'm obsessed. The highest quality of hockey you will ever see in your life. There has never been better hockey played on the ice by 2 teams ever. Like, it is at a level that is hard to comprehend. I don't know if you watch other teams play a lot, Marco, but it's the speed, the scoring chances, waves and waves of scoring chances. It's absolutely mind-flooring ice hockey. Am I wrong?
No, and unfortunately, and one of the things when we were texting Friday night when I was at the game, I said to you, it is a shame that these 2 teams, because of the situation this year with the schedule, had to play one another in this round. These are not the 2 best teams in the West, Prez. These are the 2 best teams, in my opinion, in the entire league this year. And they're going at it and they're putting on a clinic. And, how about if you like defensive hockey, the job that these 2 goalies are doing, both of them, is insane. And every shot, when you're in a game like this, the Fortress here in Vegas on Friday was rocking. It was the first time we had full capacity in there, and it was deafening, the sound. I don't know how much it came through on the TV, but being there, it was crazy. And this town they said, hockey would never work in the desert, but boy, were they wrong, because Vegas loves this team. And, it's an event whenever there's a home hockey game.
Who said hockey would never work in the desert?
The skeptics. Everybody didn't want it in Vegas. Okay. That's, all of their things. They didn't want the betting element. How you going to, this is, a winter sport. People aren't going to follow it. They love it. They're going to be more successful than the Raiders because of the success they had coming in. And this was a team that was born here. We didn't inherit them. But as soon as the Raiders win something, then they'll be relevant again as well.
Marco, let's get into it, brother. Boston, winners of 4 in a row, 3 against their rivals, the Yankees. They're playing Miami tonight. Finally won a game in 9 tries. Miami is plus 120, 25 dog. What do you like in this game, good sir?
Yeah, you hit the nail right on the head with your opening on this game. This is a play against Boston. I'm a situational handicapper, and baseball's probably a sport that situations, maybe letdowns and so forth or look-aheads are not big, especially look-aheads. But I will say that you will see letdowns. We saw it earlier in the year. Both the Dodgers and the Padres, after they played one another, those big series, the first game of the next series, they would lose the game. I'm looking for Boston to come in here flat tonight. That was a big series. It was on ESPN last night. Now, granted, it's not a big, road trip to get back to Boston for this game, but this is a 1-game series. It's a makeup game. And I'm going to take a flyer with Miami, first 5 innings on this one. Pavetta is a guy that, although he did pitch well in his last game, this is a guy that his overall numbers, his record is better than his numbers say they should be. And I'm looking at Pablo Lopez. He has been pitching great. In his last 9 starts, 8 of the 9 starts, he's allowed 2 runs or less. Plus, he's never faced Boston. That's another added edge for Miami. So I'm going to go ahead and take him. Not going to go the first 5 or the full game, rather go first 5, because we have seen Miami. This is a team that struggled this year, finally broke their losing streak yesterday against my Pirates. No big deal there, but I'm going to try them first 5 here tonight. I think there's value with them.
Marco, I got a question. It's more specific about baseball on a whole, and Teddy, feel free to wade in. It's an interesting conversation. Tampa Bay Lightning and hockey play, their rivals. Boston plays Washington 3 games in a row, and next up is the Detroit Red Wings. Well, we're all jumping on the Detroit Red Wings in that 3rd game. Is baseball similar? Here you have a team who has just come off of a 3-game sweep against a bitter rival. These are the spots that we are looking for in basketball, in football, and in hockey to bet against that team. Do you find it applies in baseball, or is the fact that it's a different pitcher every single day kind of negates that to a degree? Marco?
The pitcher does negate it to a degree, because baseball, let's face it, so much of the game is the handicap of the game is based on 2 players, the 2 starting pitchers. You're looking at, most guys go 5 or 6 innings. So you're talking about 60% of the handicap is 2 players. So if they still come in here with a big game, they can keep their team in it. But I'm looking at it as a whole. Yeah, it is a letdown for a team off of that. And then everything that you just said about the rivalry with Boston and the Yankees, throw it on ESPN, the Sunday night game, and it makes it that much more. How satisfying is it to sweep the Yankees in their ballpark on national TV? Yeah. End of story. Yes, I agree with you 100%. And that's why we're on that play. It's totally the spot, and I got a hot pitcher.
So I used to write a column for Gaming Today. I wrote it for like forever, and a deadline, a Sunday night deadline. And you're always like, Marco, you still write that column. I gave up on it after about 15 years or so. But you're always like, and there are times it's like Sunday night, you're like, what am I going to write about? Oh God, football season's easy, but So there's the whole point of this. One time I went back and talked about this specific. I researched the Yankees and the Red Sox after they play each other. And I went back and did 10 years worth of work. Because it's one of these things. And this is the biggest, this or the Dodgers and the Giants or the Cardinals and the Cubs. But this was the one that I went through when we talk about the real long-term MLB rivalries. And what I found was that game one, there was no profitability, blindly fading those two teams. However, if you use it as a 2-game sample size following the series, there was profitability. So sometimes they're going to come home or they're going to play that next game, still have the momentum, and then the next day is when they exhale. So for what it's worth, the 1 day versus the 2 day, there was a difference. Last question about this game, Marco, and before we move on to the next one. But Lopez has a really nasty home road dichotomy that kind of talked me off the Miami side. Is ERA and this he's had, I think, 6 starts home, 6 starts road. ERA over 5 on the road. Every stat is bad. Batting average against, and at home he's at an ERA under 1. Did that concern you at all for this one?
Well, as I said, 8 of the last 9 games he's given up 2 runs or less. So those were both home and away. And the problem with early season numbers, when you look at home road dichotomy, sometimes, because you only have maybe 4 or 5 starts in one of the categories, one bad sacrificial lamb start can skew those numbers for several games till you get it back in queue. So I'm looking more long term. 8 out of 9, 2 runs or less. That's where I'm looking at.
I'm Marco D'Angelo, everybody. And Marco, you are absolutely on fire, man. You have been all year. Every Monday you come on the show. We talk about how great your record is. 44-17 or something, give or take, right? In NBA. I mean, just
41 and
absurd.
41 and 18. And last week when you praised me like that, hot as could be, you put me in a 3-day slump Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. But we did a rally on the weekend with the Belmont. With the Belmont on Saturday. And then we went 5-0 yesterday for our clients, 4-0 in sports. And we gave a spot play. That's one of the benefits if you're a long-term subscriber of mine. I throw out horse plays in there as well, Prez, and we gave them a horse at Santa Anita yesterday. And the reason the horse I picked, I knew he was definitely beating one of the horses in that field, Prez. I almost texted you. The horse's name was First Prez. I knew he was beating that one.
Thanks, Marco. Marco D'Angelo. Marco, let's get into the Chicago Cubs game. Playing the Padres. Padres losers of 2 in a row to the Mets. We got Chicago here. Look, this Chicago team are rocky, up, down, up, down. They just beat San Fran. Who's winning this game?
Yeah, to be honest with you, except for the first 3 games of that San Francisco series, the Cubs have been one of the hottest teams in baseball the month of May, and they got the job done yesterday. That was one of my plays yesterday, so I was happy without that outcome. But I'm looking at this one, and here's another spot where I'm going to take a first 5-inning wager, and I'll tell you why. The Padres are coming into this game. The last 7 games, they've scored a grand total of 14 runs. Guys, you cannot win in baseball averaging 2 runs a game. This team is not hitting right now, and they're sending Ryan Weathers to the mound. He just faced the Cubs last week. He allowed 4 runs in 5 innings. But more importantly, he's a left-hander. And the Cubs have absolutely owned lefties this year. They're 13-4 against left-handers, averaging 6.1 runs per game. Also, the Cubs, the last 2 seasons, they won yesterday 4-3. Following a 1-run win, the last 2 seasons, the Cubs are 16-4 in their next game. But I'm not going to go full game. I just don't trust the bullpen in this spot after the series in San Francisco. I'm going to go first 5 because we're getting a pitcher here that San Diego, not that familiar with. Yeah, they faced him last week too, and he only allowed 1 run. But I like these guys first time going through the order here. I think he will outpitch Weathers, and I'm making it, pitcher versus pitcher. And I like Alzolay better than Weathers here because of the left-handed dominance of the Cubs. First 5, take the Chicago Cubs at plus 105.
So the Padres were as hot as any team in baseball when they arrived at Wrigley Field last week. They just taken was it 2 out of 3 or 3 out of 4 from the Astros. They've been killing everyone. And then they went to Chicago and got swept. That might have been their worst series of the entire year. Came against the Cubs. Are you worried at all that the Padres come out and are focused on this opponent because they got swept in Chicago last week? Or is that really a non-factor in your handicap?
No, there's no question. A quick revenge, you're going to look at that. And as you said, that stopped their streak and kind of put them into another one. They're in that funk. Now, in the Padres' defense, where I slapped them around as far as only scoring 2 runs a game over the last 7, they have faced some really good pitchers during that stretch. So, some of those games we could give them a pass on, but still, it's a 7-game sample size. They're struggling right now. And also that in the back of my mind is why I didn't go full game in this one. I think the Padres come back and probably win this series, but I'm looking at starting pitchers. I don't want to have the bullpens factor in, and I go head-to-head. These 2 starting pitchers with their numbers, current form, and the dominance of the Cubs with lefties, to me, it's a no-brainer. I want to have this. I want to shorten the game and go where the bigger advantage is, and that's in the first 5 with the Cubs.
Yeah. Marco D'Angelo, my brother. Let's talk some hockey, dude. Montreal playing Winnipeg tonight, and I just want to say, I gave Montreal a lot of slack all year. This is an unbelievably impressive run by them, and people need, what I am seeing from Montreal, Marco, that needs to be said is this is a team that comes out harder than their opponent every single game since Game 5 against the Leafs. Last night, we expected a huge push from Winnipeg and basically a must-win game, and Montreal was at none of it. Montreal played harder. Montreal played better. Teams are absolutely struggling to score. 2 goals from Winnipeg in 3 games. I can't take Montreal at minus 150 tonight. I'd probably prefer them in regulation. You think Winnipeg, you think there's a bet here on this Winnipeg team?
Well, full disclosure, I'll say this might be the squarest play that I'll ever give out on your show today, but I absolutely do not want any part of Winnipeg. As you said, yesterday was the game they were supposed to come out with fire in their eyes, and they weren't the aggressive team in that first period. Mm-hmm. They're down 3-0, okay? What is going to tell me that they're going to, suck it up and come in here and put forth an effort? And here's the strange part of it. Normally, you're going to have a day in between, all right, where you can talk yourself into, we can still win this. We get the first one, we go back home, grab the second one, and then all of a sudden the pressure's back on Montreal. No, they're coming back within 24 hours, playing on back-to-back nights, down 3-0, and you weren't the team that was the aggressor on the ice. I'm sorry. What happens if Montreal scores a quick goal tonight to start the game? You might see, you never want to say it, but what's going to keep this team from quitting? You're down 3-0 if it unravels early. I don't want any part of it. And I called our man this morning, Stat Daddy. I wanted to know, teams down 3-0, Game 4, hockey, what is it? And Lifetime, going into Game 4, teams up 3-0. The team up 3-0 is 123 wins, 71 losses in Game 4. They get the job done. You're laying an extra price here, but, we could always have the old adage, and that's, a topic for another show. Do I want a winning ticket with a bad number, or do I want a losing ticket with a good number? And I know long-term what the answer is, but I'm talking about a sample size of 1, and that 1 is tonight. I don't see Winnipeg showing up.
Well said, Marco. Now we got to ask what you got to promote and then kick you the hell out.
Well, you know what? We had an easy winner yesterday in basketball with Atlanta. They tried to make it a little scary at the end, but I'll take points and winning wire to wire just about any time. That brought our record to 41-18. I've got an NBA play tonight, 4% slam dunk. I'll be honest, guys, it was very close to being a 5. I just don't release that many of them. I got a 13-2 angle and an 8-0 angle backing it. Head over there. Best of all, it's $9 Monday. Can't beat it.
Get out of here, brother. We're going to take a quick break. Teddy, get ready. You got your big game breakdown. We got Bryan Leonard, the penalty box segment, so much more. We're going to cram into the next 14 minutes.
Sign up for the free WagerTalk text club to gain access to free plays and exclusive discounts. Just text WagerTalk to 33222 to sign up and get a $10 coupon to use on WagerTalk.com.
It is time for today's big game breakdown. Let's talk a little Nets and Bucks game 2. Fascinating concept. We look at the full game point spread, and note that I'm clicking back over because I'm going to give a first half recommendation here. The full game point spread right now, we're looking at a pick'em price. The Nets won in some locations. Total in the 236.5, 237 range. And obviously, it's a fascinating contest. It really is. A Harden injury, the same one that forced him to miss the 2 losses to Milwaukee in May. Don't know how long he's going to be out for, but he's not going here. The Nets able to survive the absence of Harden in game 1 because the role players stepped up. Joe Harris had a big game. Blake Griffin had a big game. And, of course, they're big too. Both played extremely well. But more than anything, Milwaukee missed shots. In particular, I'm going to Forbes was missing shots. Middleton was missing shots. There were issues. They shot 6 of 30 from 3-point range. This Bucks team, no surprise, they didn't win or cover in game 1. We've seen a significant adjustment on the total. Game 1 total, again, closed in the 239.5, 240 range. This one was as low as 233.5 before we've seen some over money today. And I agree with that over money. The first half last night was sitting at 115. Today it's 117.5. And I agree with that as well. Don't forget the pace in game 1. Game 1 was an insane pace. They would hit a shot at one end, boom, they'd be on the other end in 3 seconds and into their offense. 199 shot attempts in game 1, but only 21 of 70 combined from 3 and only 28 combined free throw attempts. So it stayed under by 16 or 17 points. We saw the big adjustment on the total, and some of the quotes speak to an under. Giannis, we've got to guard defensively together, especially against this team. Budenholzer, our guys got to execute defensively regardless of who's on the court. We got to be better. We'll be better on Monday. So those are quotes that certainly point towards a better defensive effort from Milwaukee. But from a pace standpoint, I don't see anything changing. These are 2 teams that want to get out and run. They're 2 teams that are able to take advantage of the opponent in transition. And while the offensive execution wasn't what we expected for game 1, might be a little bit better tonight. Now, I think the first half is probably better than the full game when it comes to the total. And that is everything to do with the fact that if this is a tight game late, it's going to be possession for possession. It's going to be a half-court game. It's not going to be that up and down the court. I'm worried about the fourth quarter bogging down, especially in this pick-em point spread range. So let's go first half over 17.5. We're not getting the best of the number. Nonetheless, I'm expecting a high-scoring affair early and the pace to be right where it was in game 1, which finished with 124 points before halftime. First half over, Bucks and Nets. There's your big game breakdown. Back to you, Mr. Prez.
Teddy Covers, could not agree with you more. And a great handicap. Awesome analysis there. Guys, hit that freaking like button. Do it for Teddy. Do it. Do it. Do it. Bryan Leonard joining us. And I feel like Bryan has shaved. I don't know. He looks trimmer and healthier. I want the anvil, like? Man. Who?
He looks like Arthur the Caesar today.
Yeah, a little bit.
I swear he does. Yeah, in a good way.
The camera angle is coming up. Brian, I want an anvil, man. I want one of those Jim the Anvil Neidhart things, dude.
Yeah, I was working on it, but it was getting sloppy. And I went to get a haircut the other day, and the guy says, "Do you want me to fix this?" And I go, "Yes, please." So, yeah, I was very happy, and I'm not one of the guys that goes out and pays for a shave, but it felt good. It was nice, and it looks really good. So I'm very happy. It's not going to change the looks of my face, unfortunately, as I get older, but yeah, it's presentable. And now I've got my Donnie Iris glasses. So yeah, I'm all set. King Cole, baby.
Rocking and rolling. You know, guys, and I know we don't have a lot of time, but I went for one shaves in my life where you lie back, they put the shit. I've done it once in my life. It was the worst experience. My face was like on fire for like 5 hours. Like it's like they went inside my cheeks to find hair that was going to come out a week later and got it out too. My pores were all open. If you don't do it on a regular basis, don't ever do it. Either of you have something to add to that?
Well, you expect your wives to get Brazilians. Now you know how they feel.
Well, I don't expect my wife to get a Brazilian. I want my wife to get. Let's move on. Chicago Cubs playing San Diego, Brian. And Marco took this game apart already. He liked the Cubs' first 5 innings. Where are you going?
I like the Cubs for the entire game here. It's more of a fate of Ryan Weathers than anything. It's also a fate of the Padres offense. You take a look at year-to-date, WRC+, the Cubs and the Padres are right in the middle of the pack. You take a look at what they've done in the last 2 weeks, and this Padre offense is one of the worst in baseball. It's a team that's really underperformed, and they got swept by the Cubs last week. Elzele is one of those guys. If you take a look at his season-to-date numbers, he's got some really good numbers here. He doesn't walk anybody, 5.2% walk rate, 27.2 strikeout rate. Take a look at Weather, 7.9 walk rate, which isn't bad. But his strikeout percentage is only 19.1. Take a look at the hard hit percentage. Take a look at everything. All the advanced stats say that Weathers is not a 2-run ERA guy. And I think we're going to see that. So we're looking to get ahead of the line move on this and start fading Weathers now because he's just not that good. And the Cubs are playing pretty good ball.
Yeah.
So the one question I have about Chicago, I got a lot of questions about Chicago, but when you look at what they've done at Wrigley versus on the highway, they've not played great baseball outside of Chicago. They didn't have a great series in San Francisco, and they're facing a Padres team here. They swept last week. I think San Diego will have this game. Shirley, you worried at all about the Cubs? What are they, 12-16 on the road compared to a Padres team that's been pretty dominant playing at Petco?
Well, they're also 13-4 against left-handers on the season. Now, they're not that great, but it just so happens they do very well against lefties on the season. Yeah, on the road, they're 12-16. That's not a terrible road record. But when you've got a really nice home record, it makes a difference, 21-10. So this is not the Colorado Rockies type of dichotomy, but I understand what you're saying. But it's still a small sample size, obviously. But, we came into the season thinking the Padres were going to be dominant. They have not looked like a dominant team to me, and we're always laying big numbers. I played them yesterday. I lost, and maybe some of that comes into effect here where they really disappointed me yesterday. But the Cubs are the only way I could look in this one.
Bryan Leonard, everybody. Guys, it's $9 Mondays at WagerTalk. Every play, $9. I have a 5% play up tonight in basketball. I forgot to mention. Brian, what do you have going?
I've got a top play in the NBA, top play in
nice.
Hockey. I've won 6 straight in basketball and 5 straight in hockey. In fact, number 2 in hockey now. I don't know if you're still number 1, but I'm number 2 now, and I'm going for whoever's in first.
Dude, I fell apart in the NHL, but in the playoffs. But I'm still going first too. I ain't done. Niall Williams, I know, Teddy, we got to get moving, but Niall Williams wrote, Bad Beats brought to you by Manscaped. And the reason I wanted to mention that is, Teddy, you don't know this, but Manscaped has emailed us on numerous occasions to see if they could advertise. And I actually say to Rick all the time, oh my God, Teddy and I need to have our show sponsored by Manscaped. The amount of material we would have would be incredible. Anyway, just wanted to say that. Brian, Angels playing Kansas City. You want to just explain to me why a pitcher who's 0-6 with an ERA of 6.5 finds himself as a minus 165 favorite?
It's the right move. I just, it's a situation for me. Kansas City's bringing in Kowar is going to be his major league start. I like this guy. In fact, I just picked him up in my fantasy league yesterday, but it is his first start in the majors. He's 6'5". His fastball's hitting 98. He's been tremendous in the minors, but it is a big jump. We see this all the time. How many of these elite players that we've been waiting to come up in the majors from a pitching standpoint have come out and pitched well? The Toronto guy had one good start, and then he got hit pretty well last time. Every other guy so far this year has been struggling, especially the guy in Seattle, who is one of the top pitchers in baseball that we've been waiting on. But he's going up against the Angels here, and the Angels without Trout are a different offense here. But I understand the line move. I played this last night myself at minus 125. Now it's all the way up in 155, 160. A lot of it. John Bundy. His season is 6.49. His expected ERA 3.98. So this is a team. Paley and Bundy is all of his stats from this year compared to last year. His velocity is up in all of his stats. Problem is he gives up a lot of home runs. Last year, really the only year in his career, he didn't give up a lot of home runs. Kansas City is not a team that I expect to get a lot of home runs. So I think the value here is on the Angels. But based on my fantasy player that I just picked up, I hope it's a low-scoring game.
So I wrote up KC as a free play for today. And part of the thought process in liking this young Kowar is not just his stats at AAA, where he struck out 41 and 31 batters and only gave up an ERA under 1. But it was the fact that he was a college teammate and roommate with Brady Singer, who's also on Kansas City and who's made the transition that Kowar is making right now. And when your buddy just did it, do you think that is any discernible edge for a rookie pitcher who, if his college teammate is there already on the same team with him? Or is that one of those factors that I'm thinking about it too much and the Royals have no business in this ballgame?
Well, everybody wants to compete. You know, you see this in many teams in the majors where one guy goes out and throws a shutout. The next guy wants to go out and throw a shutout. They're all close. So he's very close to Brady Singer, but I don't want him pitching like Brady Singer's been pitching the last month or so because he's lucky to still be in the rotation. But you're right. Singer was a guy that came in and struggled a little bit. Then he got really good, and everybody started buying into Singer. Now he's really struggled. I understand what you're saying, but wanting to do something and being able to do it are two different things. I hope he has a lot of success. I really do. I like these Kansas City pitchers, to be honest with you. I think they got a lot of talent, but to be able to make that step from being in the lower minors, AAA, and now getting that start, he's a little bit earlier than what they projected because, as you said, he's done very well so far in the minors. I like him, but I don't like to play those guys in their first major league start, and especially when they're on the road. Actually, it's probably better when they're on the road. They don't have all that pressure of playing in front of the home fans, so maybe that's a little advantage. But, you made good points. I read your write-up. You had a lot of good points in there. I just have a little bit different feel on it, and the betting public is leaning to my side because this line has already moved 30 points after I bet it. I might not even – you probably wouldn't want to bet it at this current number.
Brian, basketball real quick. Teddy took apart the Milwaukee Brooklyn game. He likes the over end in the first half as well. We've seen a lot of money be bet on both games to the over. Milwaukee Brooklyn over under.
I like the over. Sent this out last night, and it went down. Teddy talked about it opening 233.5. I got it at 232.5, and then today it's just shot up. And Teddy made a lot of great points. The pace in that game was tremendous. Milwaukee only shot 20% from three-point range. They'll be better in that regard. They've seen the way each team likes to play. They both like to run up and out on the court. Line shot up from overnight. I don't know if the value's there any longer, but that's the only way I could look is on the over.
Awesome stuff, brother. Thanks for joining us, Bryan Leonard, everyone. We'll see you next Monday. Teddy's got a show starting in 14 minutes, so throw me into that penalty box, Joe, and let's get going. Is that on me? Okay, guys, it's time for the penalty box segment. And, well, hey, I've been losing my hockey for my clients, but I've been winning my hockey in the penalty box segment every day. I'm passing tonight in the NHL, guys. No hockey for my clients. But I will tell you that I do like the under in the Montreal Canadian game. I was on the under yesterday. It was 5-1 Montreal. It went over, empty net goal. I knew it was going to happen. They pulled the goalie with 4.5 minutes to go. But I like the under tonight in the Montreal game. I think Winnipeg is going to continue their scoring struggles. And with Mark Scheifele out, their leading goal scorer, I think they're just struggling to find anybody who could put the puck in the net. And Carey Price is in the zone. I like Boston and the Islanders over the total tonight, guys. I know they've been playing to the under the last 2 games, but we're going over in that game. And I also like the Milwaukee Bucks over the total, just like everybody else. As well, Andrew McGinnis, Carmine Bianco. He sent in a play for the penalty box segment, Dave Pasternak to score a goal at plus 150. That's it for me. That's it for Teddy. What an outstanding show. Everybody, thank you so much for joining us. Hit that like button. And Teddy, I got a Montreal smoked turkey sandwich to eat. Take us home.
Absolutely. I want to thank Bryan Leonard and Marco D'Angelo for joining us today. I want to thank Jordan Airy behind the scenes. I want to thank my co-host, Lawrence Prez. I want to thank, most importantly, you guys out there in viewerland. Out there. You guys out there in viewerland, for taking time out of your busy day to hang out with us on Wager Talk Today. We'll do it again tomorrow. Same time, same channel, 9 a.m. here on the left coast, noon on the east coast. Between now and then, enjoy the game and good luck tonight.
Each and every Monday is $9 Monday at WagerTalk.com. All daily picks packages are priced at only $9, including $40 5% best bets. As an added bonus, all new users will receive $25 in wager bucks credited to their accounts, available for immediate use after their initial $9 Monday purchase. So make sure to take advantage of $9 Mondays at WagerTalk.com.